And that's most often because we don't like what's happening, or we are in a moment of challenge, or we are confronted with conflict or misunderstanding or confusion. And so then, rather than continue to look for the path to open-heartedness, which is an essential part of our mindfulness practice, we rationalize, don't we? We judge, we explain why this moment doesn't require that. What it requires is action. What it requires is strike back, right? What it requires is some kind of contractedness. Now, that doesn't mean, and I've used this example before and I'll use it again, that doesn't mean that you aren't decisive, that you don't bring wisdom, and that in some way you don't take an action, however skillfully you're trying, that stops harm. Let me use those words, stops harm, right? Ooh, looks like I just got lost, sorry. And I'm going to use the story that I tell about Tanner sitting in the front yard here, about 2 years old. And my neighbor, who is mentally ill, right, coming over with an object. I can't remember what it was, but having it raised over her head, coming towards my son, sitting there. And I happen to have something like a shovel in my hand. And she kept coming, and I was watching this, saying this person's name. You need to stop. You need to stop. And I could see she wasn't there, and that she didn't have the ability to stop. And she kept coming. And I had a flash moment. And the flash was, I'm going to have to kill her. I'm going to have to kill her, literally, with this, because I'm not going to have, it's going to be this impossible situation. And I just went to raise it slightly, and I said one more time, stop. And something in her clicked. And I don't know what that was, really. Some awakening moment. And she said something garbled, and I said something garbled, and I took one gentle step towards my son, not really towards her, and she backed up, and then we ended that. By the way, that was a couple of years of challenges with a person who didn't have the resource, by the way. It wasn't because she truly wanted to hurt my son. I wasn't confused about her intention. And yet, harm is harm, right? And we cannot allow it to propagate. And I was in conflict at that moment, as we might all be, because I'm going, well, I don't want to propagate harm either. And I cannot allow this to happen. And so these are the kind of real moments we have, don't we? Where it's not so clean. It's not so clear. How do we say no? How do we say no more? How do we say I can't participate in something with the most open heart? Then this is the practice. Do you know what I mean? How do we take the right action as lovingly as we can? And I think that's big business, don't you? I don't think there's any dot to dot. You just walk the thing and then it's clear. Forget about it. I think life is messy. I think it's complicated. I think the thing you can count on, though, that I can count on too, is that I can feel the difference now between acting from my wish to reduce the harm for all beings, including her, by the way, including her, versus the reactive defensive, just strike out, called I hate you and you're dangerous. And by the way, she has been, this neighbor, probably one of my family's greatest teachers. And I'm really mean, one of our greatest teachers, because what? How do we respond lovingly? How do we respond, right, to kind of crazy behaviors? She did many other things. We eventually got a permanent restraining order, required not to cause harm. By the way, we never said, by the way, towards this example, we never said one thing in court. We never opened our mouth in the courtroom on the day of that restraining order. We just let what was there play out, and it did. And the judge went, uh-oh, we have a real problem, don't we? And she got some options, and one of them was to get into treatment. Well, that's pretty wonderful of the court. That was one option. To go to jail if you don't feel like that, or to move to another place where we would not be in these challenging. And she actually made a decision to move nearby, had another house, thankfully. I'm very happy for that. And by the way, we have been peaceable generally for all those years. Now, she still owns the house, and right, what's the point? The point is, can we recognize the contraction? And when we do, what's the open-hearted work? When we see the contraction in ourselves, what's the work? Somebody in chat, what's the work? I can see it. Look, I'm judging, I'm angry, I'm hostile, I want to hurt this person because they have in some way hurt me. Pause. Breath. Take a breath. Great starts, right?
I think
Greg, are you there? Yeah.
I am. Yeah, well, I think, you know, we need to open to the emotion first, really see the emotion that's going on. What is it, you know? And we can use that emotion to help free ourselves. That's the work right there.
You can use that very energy, Greg is saying, for contemplation, reflection. By the way, Renee and Larry were just here saying restraint, the pause, the breath, the right. These are all skillful.
I mean, the fact that you even notice what happens in very dangerous situations is that comes on and a person doesn't recognize it, and then they act terrible.
Right from Cindy saying exactly what we know, right from the very energy of reactivity comes impulse, says the Buddha, by the way, doesn't it? Right from that energy. We don't hold that energy. We don't like that energy. That's not feeling too good. It's squeezing us, by the way, as well. What do? Off of me onto you. And so the other becomes the enemy. Doesn't mean they're skillful, right? The other becomes the problem. And then we feel what? Entitled, righteous, to go, I get to hurt you because you are unskillful. Well, I agree with you probably on the unskillful, but how do I respond to unskillfulness without propagating harm, hostility, judgment? This is our practice. Well, what do we know? If we're not practicing this in the quiet, shallow waters of everyday life, you've got no chance. You don't have a prayer.
I mean, I think you're recognizing it in yourself and you're forgiving yourself, and therefore you're maybe not forgiving, but recognizing.
So yes, yes.
Consoling, forgiving, whatever it takes
Yes.
in yourself to
How to
recognize.
open to yourself, Leanne's saying that. With the pause, with the restraint, it's often recognition. Cindy said is first, that's right. From recognition, Larry and Renee are saying, oh, there's now the opportunity for something. We can make a choice. That's skillful. That would be the pause, the breath, the redirect attention. All these are understood to be skillful. Why? They're chosen. They're not just happening. And then what? Then Leanne said, and then we can feel for ourselves. That might be the best I can do is go, ow, this hurts. This is not,
This is scary.
this is hard, says the self-compassion practice. This is hard. And what might I do for myself in this moment of difficulty? Well, Herbert Benson said there's nothing better to do than get out of the current situation you're in. Herbert Benson from Harvard, he said, leave the field of distress, collect your resources, regain resilience, and then skillfully, calmly, abidingly act. Right? That's what the neuroscience says. Do not stay in the cage with the tiger. Right? Mayhem,
Good.
doesn't it?
Sounds good.
Part by part, breath by breath. What's the practice? Moment by moment. That's what we have. That's what we have. All right, let me see if I can find this so I can read it for you all. This is the third time I've lost it.
Right, right.
Third time I've lost it. So let me see. Let me dig it up here. All right, so let's get ready to sit. I wanted to talk about that first because what's the point of your practice? Why are you here? That. Which part? All of them. Which part can I practice? The part I can see, the part I can know, and the part I can fall into. Sometimes that moment for me, I think I fell. And I think I fell because of my practice. I fell into, I don't want to hurt her and I'm going to stop harm. I didn't know how that was going to happen yet. I just knew not with aggression, not with aggression. And it doesn't mean I wouldn't have hit her either. So this is from Naomi Shahid Nye as we prepare to sit. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Look at that first line. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak to it till your voice catches the thread of all sorrows and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd of the world to say, it is I you have been looking for, and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend. Kindness. So let's practice together. Finding a posture that embodies really that kindness. And then we don't puff up or wither. We find our place right here in the family of things with the whole truth. The truth of kindness and the truth of the sorrow that tenderizes us. And may we call to mind all those for whom we practice that kindness today. And with the in-breath, we breathe into that ignited bodhicitta heart. And we send it out with the out-breath. Let it touch every flower, every person, every household. Let it become as wide and vast and boundless as the sky. Kindness is the only. And so with the radiance of that open heart, however open it is right now, we breathe right into the heart space. Touching into that tenderness, that humanness. And for me personally, what always feels like a tender ache and we do our best then to rest the attention there in the very body, right there in that very heartache. And we don't turn away, we don't shut down, we don't distract, and we don't think about something else. We simply recognize the preciousness of this human life, this very moment. And the human ache that comes with it. We don't run, we don't turn away. We breathe in. Now, the habit in the heart breath practice, by the way, is to try to get rid of stuff. It's a age-old habit. And rather than that, we're actually turning towards gently opening and letting be. And so let's say that as you turn into the heart space, invite the breath in, you feel nothing. Breathe into nothing and let it be. Maybe there's that achiness, that tenderness, that shenpa grip. We breathe in, we greet it, we let it be. And we commit ourselves to those three principles, the noblest principles. And we invite this attitude, this quality of mind with each breath. The first, to cause least harm. And that means right now. So rather than judging, criticizing, thinking we should be some other way, we greet the heart, we greet the sensations, and we greet the mind that's holding them exactly as we are. With the in-breath, we breathe in with intention, with recognition, acceptance, allowing. And with the out-breath, we see if we can't soften the body, reduce the resistance, drop the weapons. Let be. And we're just going to rest in this heart space, this ever changing, ever morphing, arising and passing reality of the present moment, just one breath at a time. Noticing wanting or not wanting, the preferences of the thinking mind. And remembering that line from Naomi's poem, to know what kindness is, you need to know sorrow too. Then with each breath, we see if we can't move a little closer, if we can't stay in sustained, gentle, kind attention. And that the kindness practice is the continuation of turning in and towards and opening with whatever's here. We let the thoughts fall into the background, all opinions, all perspective taking. It's not the point. We can simply let it go. We continue to soften the edges. Let them become porous and eventually dissolve like that salt in a weakened broth. inviting yourself most completely here, this body, this present moment, this heart mind exactly as it is. Tight or numb or tender or achy. And we offer the boundless abodes, the Brahma Viharas, the refuge and the resting place for the whole of this human heart, offering love, goodwill, friendliness. Breathing in these wishes. May I be happy, truly happy. May I have ease and well-being. May I be free from inner and outer harm. May I rest in the boundlessness, in the vast, empty, and open field of loving kindness and compassion. And may I remember that there is no one in the whole of this world and beyond more deserving of my care, my love, and attention than I am myself. Inviting that awakened heart mind into one's own heart. And then sending it throughout the whole of the mind body. May I offer this to myself in good times and in bad, when I am skillful, when I am unskillful. When I'm loving and not so loving. May I open to myself, offering this goodwill, this friendliness, this compassion. And then expanding the awakened heart as we do in this practice to include another. And I'm going to let that be any other you choose. Frequently, we'll do a benefactor, a loved one, someone we like. I'm going to let you pick whoever arises for you. And whatever first comes as an image, an impulse, a felt sense, let it be that. I'm calling to mind my neighbor. Maybe it's your cat, your partner, your parent, a child, a friend. Maybe it's someone with whom you're having a challenge. Let it be. And then you're picturing this person, calling them to mind and inviting them in to your own heart space. And if they can't fit there, bring them as close as you can. Seeing them truly, their wish to be happy, their wanting safety and ease, just like me. We breathe in, we expand the heart, and we offer these blessings to them. May you be happy, truly happy. Continuing to picture them, to call them present, to invite them in. May you have ease and well-being. May you be free from inner and outer harm. May you be held in the boundless, open, and vast arms of loving kindness and compassion. And may you remember, just like me, that there is no one in the whole of this world more deserving of your care, your love, and your attention than you are yourself. Breathing that in, feeling the effects, and just seeing how you are. And here there is a choice point based on how you are. If you're noticing a contractedness, achiness, a distractedness, it might be best for you to just stay with loving kindness towards yourself. If you notice the flow of expansion, of inclusivity, of openness, you may choose to include another. And calling yourself and this other to mind, we will offer the phrases at least to each other one more time, or to include another, if that's best. May we all be happy, truly happy. May we all be free from suffering. May we all have ease and well-being. May we all rest and dwell in the vast, open, and boundless heart of love and compassion. And may we all remember that there is no one in the whole of the world and beyond more deserving of our own care, love, and attention than we are ourselves. And we then let the heart mind expand beyond our own hearts, our own bodies. We let it fill the space we're in. We let it move beyond. Until it fills the whole of the sky, all space. We rest in its vastness. We breathe in that goodwill, and with the out breath, we send it out. and let it permeate, let it infuse, let it immerse in whatever it touches. Is it the bird song? Is it the pet in the room? Is it the partner in the kitchen? Is it the neighbor, the family member, the friend? Maybe others across the whole of the globe. May we all be happy. May we all have ease and well-being. May we all be free from inner and outer harm. May we all remember who we are. Deserving, worthy of love and attention. And may we all be well. And may this practice contribute.
Lots of things happen.
We got all kinds of gifts in the room while our eyes were closed. How fabulous is that? She is here and I got my green matcha tea from my beloved. This is pretty special. And so what I think is so wonderful about loving kindness practice for me isn't so much noticing where the heart is open. I find it really curious and interesting to notice where I go numb, where I can't feel anything, where my mind goes into, well, how am I going to do this later today in the dome retreat? Right? This is really useful. And I think it takes a while to really become aware of, because the practice can, I think, engender too often all kinds of ideas about how we think we should be, or how loving kindness should look, or how it should feel, or what it really feels like. And it's probably not this. And if only I could something and get to that other place, then this could work out. And that's everything but the loving kindness practice. Actually, loving kindness is actually being with yourself as you are, including contracted, tight, hateful, murderous, I don't know, whatever the realities are. And we construct a lot of ideas, I think, that makes the practice itself not very useful, not very skillful, and ultimately we avoid the practice. Then I think because we go like, I just can't get this, because I should be some other way. And if I were only that other way, then this would work out better. And really, it was Sharon Salzberg herself who said directly to me when I said, I hate loving kindness practice. I hate it. And she smiled and said, oh, I know. I know, me too. And what we hate about it is not the practice, though. What is it? All the expectations, all the, I should be able to do it like this. It's just not happening. I'm just not feeling warm fuzzies, right? And these are very saccharine ideas, right? They say Splenda's not very good for you. I suspect it's true, right? It's not very good for you to go, it should look like, feel like, be like, I should be able to do it all the time. I should be able to do it for that person. I should be able to, right? The feeling should be something. And I think we all have to be careful. I think those are really bad habits, filled with what demand, expectation, ideas about concepts, doesn't have too much to do with the truth of goodwill, right? It's not very friendly, at the least. And so what was your experience this morning?
I feel that seeing on sorrow really facilitated my practice, as for me, people again have to think loving kindness here. And when I solved it, not thinking feeling.
Isn't that right? Yeah. And then you can stay with yourself, Larry, right? Larry was saying, right in the moment of sorrow, this idea of allowing the sorrow that can open us to our real experience in this human life. It's also there. And we can feel even for ourselves, can't we? Right there. Isn't that the beautiful beginning? To feel for ourselves in this moment of challenge or difficulty or ache, right? I think it's a lot harder for myself to feel for myself when it's all just rolling along, right? When it's all going pretty well. I love Naomi's poem because she says you have to feel this often first. The truth of our humanness, the truth of our vulnerability. And then what else will arise? And I notice this naturally happens, just like you said, Larry. Then, right, the real feeling it, that reality is so much more accessible, I think. And I noticed the same. Let me read what we have some things written here. Let me go all the way back. We got good mornings. Thank you, everyone. Know the silence can be revealing or action oriented. That's right, Dennis. We were talking about that. It doesn't require immediate action. It always requires, I will add a response. And the response might be, I'm going to choose nothing right now because anything I do from here is not going to go very well. Right? It's taken me a long time to learn to shut up, for example. It is not in my nature. Like, And my joke was, my kids laugh about it still, I would literally grab my lips when they were adolescents. The best I could do was, and I would walk around like that. They thought it was a riot. And now my son, when he's just about ready to get a little irritated with me because I asked him for the third time about the thing, he goes, "Mhm." And that means I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. And that's good. Right? Like, shut up, mom. Yeah, third time. Really? I'm going to get those out there eventually. Knock it off. And we can laugh. Why? Because it's in all of our humanness, isn't it? Yeah, it's all in all of our humanness. The waves come, you can paddle and catch it or let it pass. That's right. That's the reality of this life. Yes, and sometimes, Dennis, the truth is, Dennis writes, unless it's over our head. And there are moments, aren't there? Isn't it true? There are moments when that particular wave is over our head. And don't we get to be honoring of that? I am under-resourced. I don't have right now what it takes. I am not going to swim this thing. I am just going under. And don't we get right there to be kind, compassionate, skillful towards ourselves? Like, get out of the water if you can, at least find something to grab and take a break if you can. And sometimes, by the way, you can't, because you're already midstream, I call it. And now we're floundering and flailing and spurting water and do as best you can. Right. And then you go, that's what I had that day. Is it the best of me? It's the best of me, given those conditions, maybe in the present moment. Maybe that's what yeah. Is it the best of me ultimately? Probably not. And maybe that's what I had. I was that tired, that hungry, that lonely, that disgusted, that in judgment, whatever it was. And then can I feel more for myself even there? Yes, somebody is saying directly to me, we can come to those moments with judgments, with regret, right? As we reflect on our floundery moments, our drowning moments, our right. And often hard, I think, not to mistake those moments for who we really are.
Share that. For me, it's so much easier.
Quite getting there.
To that great feeling that everybody enjoys. That rare moment.
Yeah.
I can really fit in
Feel
there.
it. I think
So
that's,
I can sit.
yeah, yeah,
Let that happen.
yes.
Nurturing wherever I am in that moment.
Yes, that's right.
It's not my favorite.
No, it's not so easy.
Not everybody's.
That's right. Nobody, right? Dia's saying it's pretty difficult. The idea of loving kindness is pleasant and really opening ourselves in every moment. Not so easy, not so simple, and opening to ourselves maybe some of the most difficult. This is where I think we really look in the mirror, don't we? We really go, really? I'm not even able to give myself a break in the middle of drowning. Like, you wouldn't do that to anybody, would you? You wouldn't go, tough for you, get it together, right? Just find hit the shot, make the whatever it is we do. And we do it to ourselves pretty chronically, don't we? I think we do, but I think recognizing that by itself, Larry said, and touching into the sorrow of that, I cannot even befriend myself in this moment of drowning. I can't even do it. I just put more demand, more you should have it together. You should be able with all this practice, right? We say as, once you get about 6 months of practice in, you think you're an expert. And then you go, I should be able to do this all the time for everybody. And what does Pema say? Well, give it 60 years. Give it 60 years, see how it goes. Right? And what's the truth? It goes, it grows. And maybe just in infinite, right? Can't almost feel them, sense them, know them. Can we allow the reality of this? Can we allow that for ourselves? I want to say something about regret because Allie wrote that here. Regret has two aspects. The one aspect is judgment, condemnation. We use, right, regret to go, you're failed. And we solidify and identify with that moment, that drowning moment. We go, that's who you are. That's all you are. That's all you're capable of. And you're kind of pathetic because there you were and you solidified now, fixated, we call it, identified with that moment in time. It's like taking a bad picture and going, that's me. That's it. Snapshot, right? And you go, ooh, that's not so great. And then you go, that's who I am. And that's all it is. And how sad and unfortunate and untrue is that? So that regret is just habit mind. The one that goes, you're just a fuck up and that's all you are and that's all you're ever going to be. And so, by the way, stop the whole thing with the practice. Right? Don't even try this. It's ridiculous. Waste of time because, right? Oh, I think Allie just wrote that, right? A complete waste of time. No, it isn't. No, it's not. It's not true. Because what? You're just not seeing clearly. That's all. You're just lost in a delusion moment. You're not seeing who you really are, which is the one who wants to be there, the one who wants to do better. And that one, we call that wholesome regret. To go, I don't have to keep doing that right now. I could actually stop that right now. I could stop now.
And there's a lot of shoulda, coulda, coulda in that. That's like the in underneath. I should have done it better. Could have done it better. Like, what would I do? Like, what would I do if I would do it now? Which is also so useless.
That's right.
Well,
I
I
get-
think the psychosis, like,
Yes.
I had these friends over last night and I kind of, the date is kind of started out, it was like an hour off Zoom call. I took a Zoom call on a walk, sitting on the sidewalk. It went fine. But anyway, towards the end of the evening, I had his friends over somehow. My son said, I didn't plan on making burgers on the road. I don't do burgers on the grill. So he said, what's wrong with me? I want a burger. So I had everything off the grill, but I got this burger out and I put it down on her plate and she just cut into it and it was raw in the center of pain. So anyway, I put it back on the grill and I'm like, these whole meditations, just little chunks of my burger and fixating on this, how psychotic. I can't stop thinking about how I did that. And
Yes.
I'm ready to go home. I have people coming over. I'm gonna do a test burger.
Yes.
I'm thinking about my burger that I didn't do right.
The thing you
And
messed
all
up.
the freaking shit that I did yesterday that seemed to work out okay.
Leanne's laughing about
So it's like, oh,
grabbing the moment and defining oneself, right? And repeating. Talk about repetition. We're repeating the look how failed I am, look at how bad it was, look at how, and that's why we replace, by the way, we replace those thoughts with the repetition of loving kindness. We do know that what we repeat in small moments again and again sticks. We do know this. So small moments in the repetition again and again in all the moments you can matters. Now, by the way, recognizing the moments you can't is also very skillful, isn't it? Because then we can, when you go, there I am just staring, thinking about myself as a bad host and a horrible cook and failed in all these ways that other people make great burgers, or it doesn't matter what it is, does it? It's not the point. It's ridiculous. Right. And then go, and so I cannot reside in my own awakened heart mind because of my failures. Well, that's exactly what love is, isn't it? Isn't love, in fact, exactly showing up when nobody else shows up, being there for you, your children, your parent, right when everybody else would go, not so much, not so pleasant. You're not so great. You're really, there's terrific evidence that you're completely failed. And I believe that's the definition of love. That's where love goes. Because what else would go there? Nothing. Right? Nothing. Yeah.
So, I guess the way I look at that is that if you have time to reflect, which you should, if you can, is feel for yourself.
If
Get
you can.
down
Yeah.
Into that loving person, that's what works for me, that can feel me, make me feel worth. And then in that moment, when you're feeling that open, try to take a look at what's behind my worry about, say, the book. It's usually, as she says, fear and anger. Gotta remember.
That's right.
What am I afraid of here? Oh, probably I'm afraid of what people think about me or that I'm measuring up. What is that? And then feel for that. What's under that? At the time I'm feeling all that love, what's under this? And does that make sense? And maybe I need to heal that with this love, and that really I'm enough. I'm doing the best I can. To me, that's how the loving kindness helps me
Yes.
deal with
Yes.
what's really underlying there. Because
Yes.
that's difficult.
Can I stay with myself in my
And I
own
need that
moment of
answer.
failure? Because if I can't, what is that? I love the inquiry. What is that? And so is that the me that will judge everyone when a burger is burnt? Is that who I really am? No, that is fear. That, in fact, that is some level, all contraction, some level of fear that I'm going to be evaluated. I'm doing it myself. So of course I'm going to assume others are doing it to me, with me, for me also. And by the way, that's usually us. Because what I have discovered after a lot of years is when I can give myself permission for my humanness, what other people are thinking is not actually too much my concern. I don't neither not care. I don't want to say that's true, but neither do I get stuck over there with, well, you may think my burnt burger is not exact. And really, that's okay.
Yeah.
Right? You can have whatever opinion about burnt burgers you have, but I already know what that is in you, don't I? Because I know what it is in me. So what is that in you? Well, that's the same fear in you, that same perfectionism, we could call it, that same gotta get it right, that same there's only one way, that same narrowness in you that there is in me. And then I can feel for us both. The me that judges that and the you that I think is judging that too. By the way, often, not always, often and not always, when we perceive another judging, half of that's me projecting, since I think I'm failed, I think you think I'm failed too. By the way, it works in reverse. That person who's judging them, not right, is maybe also going, "Nyeh." But do we know what that really is? And what is that really? Fear. I remember, I don't know if Adrian's still on, but I remember one of our friends, will remain nameless here, and I was pregnant and really didn't know how to be pregnant because I hadn't been pregnant before. And I went to an event with her and she said, do you not have on like pantyhose? And I went, what? And she said, yeah, I don't think you have pantyhose on. I said, no, I don't. It was the 80s, right? I guess pantyhose were still in. I said, no, I don't. She goes, you know, they make pantyhose for pregnant mothers. I was like, what are we? Yeah. What are we talking about? But they make pantyhose for pregnant. You need, like, this is ridiculous. You're walking around without. And I was like, oh my God, I clearly have violated some major something. here, right? I took it on. I took it on. I already knew I didn't know what was going on. I already knew I wasn't so great at being a pregnant person. I already knew I didn't know what was up. And now it was,
Now you don't.
the evidence was all in, which is you don't even know there's patios for pregnant women, right? Don't we do it? And who did that to me?
Yourself.
Didn't it? It was only me. Because really, what do I care? And now I can laugh and go, right? How horrible I can actually know for her to think there's only one way.
I like
So-
a saying that I've been seeing a lot, and I'm trying to tell myself this is that often when somebody's saying something kind of belittling me, it's about them.
Yes.
Trying
Renee
to
said it's
remember
really
that.
about the other and their judgment and their perfection and their condemnation of themselves. They're just
Something going
projecting
on.
that onto you too. Can we know this? Well, the answer is sometimes yes, and sometimes no. Isn't it true? Sometimes yes, I can go, oh, very clearly. Now, I could not see that in that moment. By the way, why? Because I already felt failed. I already felt insufficient. I already went, I don't think I know how to be a pregnant person. This is very confusing and weird for me. I'm not sure I'm signed up. I lined up for this. This is not quite right. And by the way, that contributed harm. And can I feel for myself and this person now in both of our ignorance and our confusion and our judgment? And the answer is I can.
You know what, I still, when thinking of that, the thing that I still don't know, I just shut up, is how you respond. I have a friend who I love her, but
Yeah.
and when she does that, it's like, I don't even know what like I think, well, like, what do I say? And I still don't know. So usually I just say nothing. Sometimes I'll just go, yeah, whatever.
Right,
But
right.
it's because I know, because I'm hurting from that.
That's right.
And then I know it's hurting, but I just don't know.
That's right.
Response, especially someone who's in your life. Safe.
Yes, that's right. So Cindy is saying that sometimes as much as she recognizes the pain in another, and that pain might reflect itself in judging others or maybe harsh comments about others or remarks about others, and that sometimes she doesn't know what to do with that. And I would say for me, it begins again with the repetition, which is, I don't think you need to know what to do. I think you can feel for yourself and or her in this moment, either one. Myself for not knowing what to do or say. I could feel for myself here, and I could feel for you because I know where all that judgment comes from. And wherever the door can open, go there. Well, I can't feel for you because you're looking like such a shit right now. That's not going to work out. But maybe I can feel for, I just don't even know how to respond. Like, I don't have anything brilliant to say yet. I don't have something that's profound or even particularly loving. And then what I do, I know I don't know what to do. Can I simply offer that goodwill to myself in this moment of confusion, in this moment of not having anything great to say? Can I feel for myself? And from that, my promise is this: the open heart will guide you. And maybe you never say anything, by the way, but you can offer that person a phrase of loving kindness. Shut up. Right? Sometimes I just want to say, shut up, because I don't want to hear this. And can I convert that into the pain for us both and then make an offering? Can I feel for us both in this moment of not knowing what to, right? Or in this moment of
Well, I have
judgment?
the same exact thing as you.
Can't
I've been
we?
struggling with that. And I realize it's because I'm a fixer. I want to fix this relationship, make it better.
Make it better.
And I think you can't. I kind of try. And
Well, we can't
I-
fix before we fix what? We
myself-
can't fix the other
myself,
before you fix the pain the distress,
Right,
I should know, if only I could come up with something brilliant, if
right.
only I could make this better. And maybe the truth is, again, don't I get to offer something to myself? Can I acknowledge this as a moment of confusion, of suffering, of uncertainty, of wanting to say something to make this better and not having any ideas? And the practice says, rest in the repetition when you don't know. Rest in the repetition. May I be free from this distress, or may you be free from this distress.
Well, I was gonna say was that I realized you don't have to be a fixer. Renee. Stop it.
Right? We all think we should be what?
Don't say anything.
Brilliant, or
I'm there.
it's not required. Can I offer the phrase to me, the other, or both? What can I offer then is the practice. The wish for freedom from this distress, the wish for clarity, the wish for something right to say. Okay, well, that's all goodwill. Good. That I eventually know how to respond to this with something more than just silence. Well, what I can offer right now is the repetition of the phrase. And it says default there. When you don't know, beautiful practice, default right into the repetition for whoever you can. Whoever you can, me, you, or us. Is there any better? No. May we both be free from this dilemma. Wouldn't that be amazing? Yes, it would. And don't minimize it, right? Because all good actions, like Renee's saying, I want to be a fixer, I want to make it better. Here's the confidence you can have in the practice. All good actions will come from that very offering. May I just rest in the repetition. May I be free from this. May you be free from this. May we be free from this. Do I know what to do yet? Not a clue. Trust that. And you rest in that open-heartedness. And I'm promising you something. I've got some years on this now. It will lead to the next right thing. What is that? Nothing yet. Nothing. I got nothing. I only got the repetition. Good for you. May I feel for myself and the burnt burgers and all those who judge themselves by their ruined meal. Can I feel for that? I actually can. I
Diane,
remember that too. Hi, Greg.
hi,
Welcome back.
thank you. Just a thought on that that comes up for me. Is just the realization that neural pathway, and as soon as we do that, which is like a groove, in the brain.
Right.
I kind of like that expression of it that way.
That's
So
right.
what we're really doing is when we do that repetition, we're changing that neural pathway each time.
That's exactly right. Expanding, extending, creating neural pathway, Greg is saying. And that is exactly true and correct. We have the research for that. Mathieu Ricard, by the way, was one of the research subjects for this very loving kindness practice, as was Zonkni Rinpoche. He was a second, and another of one of the high level Rinpoches. And guess what they watched as they lit their brains up with all those probes, going right into the phrases, expanded the pathway, like it lit the tree. Isn't that amazing? And they watched it. They watched it happen. I love the truth of this. And so I count on it. I'm counting on it. Right? Aren't you? So what do? At least start with the phrase. This is good enough. Default into the repetition. May we be free. When that ambulance just went by, you know what I thought? May whoever that is, whoever that for, may they be free from distress. May those driver, may that EMT, may they be free from pain and suffering. Isn't this beautiful? Yes, thank you. It was Suzuki Roshi. That's exactly right. I think we're almost out of time. Can we sit together for a moment? We're going to remember those phrases because we're going to keep repeating them. throughout this whole weekend, as you're confronting crowded roads, as you're confronting people in the store who are in a hurry, as you're confronting people who said they'd bring the baked beans, but they didn't, right? As you're confronting the partner who said you needed to have this done, and then they got mad at you because it wasn't, right? Can we default? And that means find ourselves back again and again into the repetition. Let's review them for a moment. And so finding ourselves back into that vast open heart, our own physical hearts, our own felt sense of boundless heart, and that sky-like quality of heart mind. And then we breathe into the heart space. And as we breathe in, we feel whether it is contracted or expanded. And as we breathe out, we can make an offering. May I be happy. May you be happy. May we all be happy. And we rest in the phrase, this phrase of love, greeting, love. May we all be well. May we all have ease. Or in moments of suffering and distress, we can offer the compassion phrase, may I be free from suffering. May you be free from suffering. May we all be free from suffering. And just these two phrases, may I wish goodwill, or may I wish the end of suffering. Let's begin there. It's already enough. You can't do it too much. Do it as often as you breathe. May we all be happy. May we all be free from pain and suffering. Small moments repeated often grows strengths, qualities, and the boundless heart mind. There's nothing to believe here. There's no right way, wrong way. We just stay in the repetition. May we call to mind all of those who have given their lives in our protection, in our freedom. May they be remembered. Happy Memorial Day. And love and blessings to us all. Rest in the repetitions. See how well they serve. See how well they serve you. There is no action greater than the placing of one's heart mind in a right path, in right order. There's no greater action than that. And so we just stay there. just rest in the repetition, see how well they serve. I hope everyone has a happy Memorial Day. May your burgers be well. May your burgers be well.
Just canceled, so I guess we're just gonna.
There it is. I said it was gonna happen. Exactly right.
It'll be
Greg, good to
unbelievable.
see you. Robin, good to see you. We'll look forward to
to
seeing
see
you
you.
guys on Tuesday. Good to have everyone well and here. Take good care.